Let's do some physics today.
No.
Transforming formulas. All right, so there's a common formula in math and physics, and it's this one. It's called the distance formula. D equals RT. In case you don't know what D stands for, distance, rate, and time. Distance equals rate times time. That whole miles per hour thing, that's your rate. Okay, so distance equals rate times time. And what we end up doing with the distance formula is allowing us to figure out different things just by plugging in numbers to this formula, D equals R times T. All right? If you do your distance, give me a number for a distance.
5 miles.
12.
12 miles.
If 12 is our distance and our rate is, give me a speed,
60.
60 miles an hour,
60.
what is our time going to be?
Wouldn't it be 5 miles?
What would I do? Okay, it's the formula, right? It's an equation.
Yeah. So you would do
Okay, so that's 60 times t.
distance
Also,
divided
like,
by
the
60.
So I'm going to do my distance divided by 60, right? Okay, so this was 12 miles, so all we're going to figure out is hours, right? Because miles will cross off. This is MPH, so miles are gone. So 12 divided by 60.
5.
60 divided.
1.2.
So 12 divided by 60.
No, 2
No, 0.2.
So that's 0.2. 0.2 what though?
miles per
No,
or hours.
0.2 hours.
So in 1/5 of an hour you can get there.
Yeah, 0.2 hours out of 10. Okay, if you divided 60 by, if you divided 60 into tenths, so that's 60 divided by 10 is 6, right? And then times 2, so you gotta, how far are you going to get? That's 12 minutes. Right? 0.2. Okay, you do have to do some translating because we had it in hours, and that gets to be a little bit complicated, but easily solved. All right, so that's the distance formula. All right. So let's do a couple different other things. You ready?
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. Draw this line on your paper. That's a B. Draw that on your paper. That's a W. Okay? What does W equal?
The whole.
Okay, W equals what though? In relation to X and B.
Double or no? It's both X and B.
Okay, so W equals X plus B, correct? Does that make sense so far? All right. Solve this equation for X. Get X by itself.
So we would do the minus
W goes to X
minus
and
B and then minus B.
We subtract B on both sides. Because that's the easiest way to get X by itself, isn't it? So that's W minus B equals X, and I can flip-flop that to say X equals W minus B. All right? So that means if I knew what W was and if I knew what B was, I could figure out what X was by subtracting those two. Right?
When did B and oh no.
Does that make sense? I have to subtract from the whole. Okay? So what did we do? We transformed a formula. Okay, that's all we did was we transformed a formula, right? All right, so what if I did, what is this one? You know this one. What is that one?
circumference equals pi.
Circumference of a circle. Okay, with that transforming circle, we can find the diameter of a basketball, if we do the circumference of the basketball. Okay, how could I figure out the diameter from this formula? How would I transform that formula?
Get diameter by itself.
Okay, so how would I do that?
Do it minus C.
But it's with it. It's with it.
This is multiplication, isn't it? So I'll divide, correct? So I divide by pi on both sides. What does that leave me with? C over pi, C divided by pi equals the diameter. Okay, or I can flip-flop that to say D equals C divided by pi. Okay, I don't know what these are, I didn't tell you. But if you were told the circumference of something, and you know what pi is, if you divide by pi, you get the diameter, right?
Mhm.
Because all we're doing is playing with the formula. Okay, so here's another one. What formula is that one?
Area equals
Length times width.
Okay, so that's the area of a, what shape?
No,
No.
Square.
Or rectangle
Square.
would be a better one. All right?
You have to do it.
Yeah, I get with
So you divide. by-
Okay, so, but here we go. We're going to transform this formula to find the length. Okay, the area is 42. The width is 3. What's the length? Okay, let's transform the formula first.
You gotta
I-
get
I got to get L by itself. So what am I going to do with W?
divide by
Divide.
3.
Divide on both sides. So here's the formula now. A over W equals length. All right, so A is 42, right? 42 divided by 3 equals L. All we do is plug in the numbers, because that's the numbers we were given, right? 42 divided by 3 is
14.
14. So L equals 14. My length is 14. Now I'm not labeling it because I never gave you the measurements. All right? And by the way, if you're not given the measurements, you would typically default to units, which is kind of just standard. Say, I don't know what the measurement is, but you know, it's
Whatever needed.
all right. Does that make sense? Here's another formula. This is our last formula. Because we're not learning formulas today, we are transforming formulas today. A equals pi r squared. What's that one?
Area equals pi times radius squared.
But what
Area
do
of
we-
a circle.
Area of a circle. Okay? Let's find the area of a, we know the area of the circle. The area of a circle is going to be 154 square centimeters. I just gave it to you, didn't I?
Oh, okay.
Okay?
So it's gonna be 154.
And we know what pi is, right?
3.1.
But I'm going to use 22 over 7 to make her life easier. There's a reason why. All right.
Because it goes in.
Okay, so what do I need to find? What am I looking for? I want to find the radius. I want to find the radius. So what do I do? Let's transform my formula first. What do I want by itself?
R.
I want r by itself. All right, how am I going to get r by itself?
Divide by pi.
Okay, I'm going to divide by pi. That's a over pi equals r squared. Is that done? Is r by itself?
No, because you.
How do I get the square away?
Divide by 2.
No. What's the opposite of the exponent of square?
Negative.
Division.
Square root. Remember?
No.
Exponent, square root.
Oh, okay.
They're the opposite of each other. So if I did the square root of both of them, I get square root of a over pi equals r.
There.
Okay, my
No.
formula has been transformed. Now let's plug it in. 154 over 22 over 7 equals r, and that's the square root.
There can be
So I'm going to change my color because I crowded myself out. Okay? So, yes. The very last thing we're going to do is the square root. So let's do 150. This is a complex fraction. How do we get rid of this? Multiply by the reciprocal. So that's 7 over 22. Okay, so over here, I'm going to work now. 154 over 1 times 7 over 22. Does 22 go into 154?
Yes. No.
Well, not
It can't.
evenly.
It can't. Because you can't get.
It does.
Oh,
try multiplying 22 by 7.
It
Tell me what you
does,
get.
it does work.
Would you
because
multiply 22 by 7?
Once you get past 5,
Yeah,
then you
it's
get to
7.
110, and
Okay.
then you can.
So I can cancel to get 7. What's 7 times 7?
49.
49. Now remember, 49 does not equal the radius. The square of 49 equals.
So then would it be 7?
Okay, the square of 49 equals the
7.
radius, right?
Right.
Which means 7 equals the radius.
Oh.
And it's centimeters, by the way, because that's what I gave you that measurement. Does that make sense? Okay, so I know I got a little confusing on the thing, but we transformed the formula. The very last thing we had to do was do the square after we solved it all the way through. I could have done 3.14, but 22 over 7 was nice because that allowed me to
Then you have a
simplify
lot
this.
more work.
3.14 would not have allowed me to do that, by the way. That's why I told you to use 22 over 7. The book will usually default to telling you the easiest way to do it, by the
So
way.
number 4 has it, but I don't, like, I still don't really get it.
What?
Number 4 has it.
Number 4 in today's lesson?
Yeah, I
All
still
right,
don't.
that's a circumference one.
So then would you But it's the formula for the area. Or no, it's not.
C equals 2 pi r. And it says to do what? Solve for r. This is number 4. That's probably the last one I'm going to do. This is number 4, so get this one done.
Divide by 2
We want r by itself, right?
pi.
So we divide by 2 pi.
6.28.
No, we don't have to do that. I don't know what circumference is. I don't know what radius is, so I don't care. All I want to do is transform my formula. I want r by itself.
So then it would be C over
2 pi
equals R.
equals r. It's done.
That's it.
That's it. All we did was transform the formula. Unless it starts plugging in numbers for you, like the circumference is this, or the, we know what pi is, but we don't know what the circumference, we don't have enough to do anything.
Oh.
So
You would
that's
only if it starts telling you what things stand for, would you have to do anything.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't know what this stands for.
Okay.
Do
so-
I?
No, because it didn't give us any numbers.
It doesn't give us any other numbers. It only 2 pi r is, remember there's 2 ways to do circumference of circle, pi times diameter,
And then-
or 2 pi r.
Yeah.
That's why. If it had given you the circumference, you could have solved it. It didn't give you the circumference.
Okay.
Okay? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, so that, it's only like in these problems that we did, this one, because I gave you that information.
All right.
And this one, I gave you that information. Okay?
Whoa.
But then like on 24, it gives you like numbers.
On 24,
And 11 it
And
does
11.
too.
24 isn't one of those problems.
It's just less than 79.
It's just from the same type of.
And from lesson 77.
That's
And
the-
all you gotta do is you're solving for x, and we did that the other day.
Okay. And then 11 you're solving for x2.
And 11,
I'm so confused.
okay, let's do one of them. Let's do this one, because I do need to get to the next group, and then I will answer questions. Yes. I got time to do this last one. All right, so we want to get x by itself, but we have x on both sides of the inequality. So I'm going to subtract the smaller one to get it on this side. Okay, that's gone over here. That gives me x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 6. Right? I need to get
How do you get just X?
2x minus x is x.
Oh.
Remember, I had to subtract x on both sides. If you got a variable by itself, there's a 1 in front of it. 2 minus 1 is 1, right? So I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. That gives me x is greater than or equal to 4.
So then
So
you
then
put
like X would be 2.
a closed circle and then 4 going.
So
up.
if you had to graph it,
It doesn't say the graph.
okay, it doesn't say the graph, but if you had to graph it,
Yes.
it would be a closed
Wait.
circle, and it would go that way because it's bigger than.
No, this is 24.
This is 24.
This is 24.
This is 24.